The global seed industry is worth over $60 billion a year. $60 billion. Built almost entirely on the idea that gardeners need to buy new seeds every single spring. New packets, new varieties, new catalog orders, year after year after year. Amish farming families in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania have not bought seeds in generations. Not one packet. Not one catalog order. Their seeds come from their own garden, saved by hand, stored in paper envelopes, and passed down from parent to child the same way other families pass down furniture or photographs. And here is what makes that remarkable. Their plants don't get weaker every year the way you might expect. They get stronger, more adapted, more productive, more resistant to the specific diseases and pests and weather patterns of their exact piece of land. The seed industry built a $60 billion business on a problem the Amish solved 200 years ago for free. Today I'm walking you through the complete system. How they choose which plants to save from, how they process and dry the seeds, how they store them so they stay viable for a decade or more, and the community practice that multiplies the whole system beyond what any single family could build alone. I'm saving the most important seed on this list for last, because it's the one that changed how I think about my entire garden. And number 4 on this list is the one that is going to surprise you most. Most gardeners have been doing this completely wrong and don't know it. Stick around to the end because I also have a bonus tip about one specific seed-saving technique the Amish use that I have genuinely never seen explained properly anywhere else. It sounds counterintuitive. It works extraordinarily well. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. Hit that subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss what's coming after this one. Every video on this channel builds on the last, and what's coming next connects directly to everything we cover today. Now let's get into it. I want to be upfront about something before we go further. I bought seeds every spring for 15 years without questioning it. New packets every February, a catalog habit that felt like part of the gardening ritual. And it never occurred to me that I was paying for something I was already producing for free every single season and throwing away. That's what seed saving looks like from the outside when you first encounter it in an Amish garden. You watch someone carefully remove seeds from a tomato or a bean pod or a squash, dry them on a paper towel, fold them into a labeled envelope, and put them in a cool, dry drawer. And you think, that's it? That's the whole thing? That's most of it, yes. The Amish don't treat seed saving as a complicated technical process reserved for expert gardeners. They treat it the way they treat composting or mulching, as a basic part of how a garden works, something you just do every season, without exception. Here is the philosophy underneath it that makes everything else make sense. A seed you buy from a catalog was selected and bred for commercial production conditions. It was designed to perform consistently across a wide range of climates and soil types. That consistency is useful if you're selling to a mass market, but it means no seed in that packet was ever grown in your specific soil, in your specific climate, under your specific pest and disease pressures. A seed you save from your best performing plant has already proven it can thrive where you are. And every generation you save from your strongest plants, you are quietly selecting for exactly the traits that matter in your garden. Disease resistance to your local pathogens, timing that works with your local frost dates, flavor that has adapted to your soil chemistry. The Amish have been doing this selection process on the same land for generations. Their tomato varieties are not catalog varieties. They are living, continuously adapting organisms that have been earning their place in that specific garden for 100 years. That is something you cannot buy. You can only build it, and you build it one season at a time. Let's go through the seeds that matter most and exactly how the Amish handle each one. Seed 1. Tomatoes. Tomatoes are where most people start with seed saving and where most people make the same mistake. The mistake is saving seeds from the first ripe tomato or the biggest tomato or the most beautiful tomato. The Amish save from the best overall performing plant, not the best fruit, the best plant. Here's the distinction. The best plant is the one that produced consistently through the whole season, the one that showed the most disease resistance when blight pressure was high, the one that kept setting fruit when other plants slowed down in late summer heat, the one that produced the most total fruit across the full season, not just the most impressive single specimen. That plant's genetics are what you want to carry forward, not the genetics of the plant that happened to produce one perfect tomato before it collapsed. Once you've identified that plant, let one tomato go fully ripe on the vine. Past the point, you would eat it until it's soft, deeply colored, almost overripe. Then cut it open, scoop the seeds and gel into a jar of water, and let it sit at room temperature for 2 to 3 days. This is the fermentation process, and here is why it matters. The gel surrounding tomato seeds contains germination inhibitors, compounds that prevent the seed from sprouting inside the fruit. The fermentation process breaks down that gel completely and removes those inhibitors. It also kills many seed-borne fungal pathogens that could affect next year's crop. After 2 to 3 days, the viable seeds will have sunk to the bottom of the jar. The non-viable seeds and the gel will be floating on top. Pour off the top, rinse the sinking seeds thoroughly, and spread them on a paper towel or a ceramic plate to dry completely. At least 1 to 2 weeks in a warm, dry location. Once fully dry, store in a labeled paper envelope. Never plastic. Paper breathes. Plastic traps moisture that kills seeds in storage. The Amish label with the variety name, the year saved, and one note about why they chose that plant. That note becomes the breeding record across generations. Seed 2. Beans and peas. Beans and peas are the easiest seeds to save and should be where every beginner starts. They are self-pollinating, which means they don't cross-pollinate with other varieties the way tomatoes or squash can. What you plant is what you get every time. The method is almost embarrassingly simple. Leave a portion of your bean or pea plants in the ground past harvest. Let the pods dry completely on the vine until they are papery, brown, and rattling with the seeds inside. Then pull the whole plant, hang it in a dry location for another week, and shell the seeds directly into a paper bag or envelope. The seeds are ready to plant next spring exactly as they are. The Amish save beans from every planting because it costs nothing and takes 5 minutes. They also have a specific practice around bean seeds that I want to highlight because it's something that dramatically improves germination rates and nobody in mainstream gardening talks about it. They save from multiple plants, never just one. They mix seeds from 5 to 8 of their strongest producing plants into the same envelope. This maintains genetic diversity within the variety. A bean population saved from a single plant over several generations will begin to show reduced vigor. A population saved from multiple strong plants maintains vitality and resilience. That practice is the difference between seeds that gradually lose their performance over years and seeds that maintain or improve their performance indefinitely. Drop a comment right now if you've been saving seeds. Tell me which ones and how long you've been doing it. I want to know what the experience has actually been like for people watching this channel. Seed 3. Squash and pumpkins. Here is where seed saving gets more complicated and where number 4 on this list is going to genuinely surprise most of you. Squash and pumpkins cross-pollinate readily between varieties. This means if you grow butternut squash and acorn squash in the same garden and you save seeds from both, the seeds you saved may produce something that is neither butternut nor acorn, but a cross of the two. The Amish solve this in a way that is elegant and requires zero additional effort. They grow only one variety of each squash type per season, one summer squash variety, one winter squash variety, one pumpkin variety. They rotate which variety they grow each year, so they never get bored with the same thing. But in any given season, there is no opportunity for unwanted crossing because there is only one variety present. Simple. No isolation cages, no hand pollination. Just intentional variety selection at the planting stage. For the seeds themselves, squash seeds are scooped from a fully mature fruit, one that has been left on the vine well past eating stage until the skin is hard and the vine is dying back. The seeds are rinsed, separated from the stringy pulp, and dried on a flat surface for 2 to 3 weeks until completely hard and dry. A well-dried squash seed stored in a paper envelope in a cool, dry location will remain viable for 4 to 6 years. The Amish routinely use squash seeds from 3 or 4 years prior and get strong germination rates. Seed 4, and here is the one that surprises people most: peppers. Not because peppers are complicated to save from, they are actually quite simple, but because of what most gardeners don't realize about pepper seeds and grocery store peppers. The seeds inside a fully ripe pepper from your garden, or even from a grocery store pepper, if it was not a hybrid variety, are completely viable and will grow into a productive plant next season. Most gardeners throw away millions of viable pepper seeds every year inside the peppers they eat for dinner. Here is what the Amish do that most people never consider. They save seeds from every pepper variety they grow, yes, but they also collect seeds from interesting peppers they encounter at markets, at community gatherings, at seed swaps, an unusual variety someone grew in their garden, a pepper from a farm stand with a flavor they want to replicate, a variety someone's grandmother grew that nobody else has anymore. Those seeds go into labeled envelopes. Some of them get planted the following year, some get traded with neighbors. Over Generations That Practice builds a seed library that contains varieties not available in any commercial catalog, flavors and characteristics that exist only in that community because nobody else kept them alive. The Amish seed library is one of the most significant and underappreciated aspects of their agricultural heritage. And it exists because someone decided decades ago that the seeds inside their dinner pepper were worth saving. If you're sharing this video, do it now. Send it to every gardener you know who has been throwing away pepper seeds with the compost. That single piece of information is worth the whole video. Seed 5, the most important seed in the Amish garden corn, specifically open-pollinated dent corn and flower corn varieties that Amish communities have maintained for generations. I put corn last on this list because it is the most important and the most misunderstood. Most home gardeners either don't grow corn at all because they assume it requires too much space, or they grow hybrid sweet corn varieties and wonder why their saved seeds don't perform the same way next year. Hybrid corn seeds do not breed true. The seed companies designed them that way deliberately. You buy new seeds every year because the plants produced from saved hybrid seeds are unpredictable and usually inferior to the parent. That dependency is not an accident. It is the business model. Open-pollinated corn varieties, and the kind the Amish have been growing and saving for generations, breed completely true from saved seed. What you grow this year is what you get next year and the year after. Amish dent corn varieties serve multiple functions that no hybrid sweet corn can match. Ground into cornmeal, they are a calorie crop. Fed whole to livestock, they are a feed crop. Saved and replanted, they are free seed in perpetuity. The Amish save corn seed by selecting the best ears from the strongest stalks before harvest. Stalks that showed good height, strong root systems, and resistance to the lodging and disease pressure that affected weaker plants nearby. Those ears are dried completely on the cob and stored whole through winter. In spring, the kernels are shelled directly from the cob at planting time. This selection process, choosing seed from the strongest plants, not just the biggest ears, is what maintains vigor in an open-pollinated corn population over generations. It is also exactly why Amish corn varieties have survived for 2 centuries, while commercial hybrid varieties are redesigned and re-released every few years. The community system, why the Amish seed library, keeps growing. I want to explain something about how the Amish approach seed saving at a community level because it's what makes their system more resilient than anything an individual gardener can build alone. Every Amish community maintains what functions as a collective seed library. Not a formal institution with filing systems and catalogs, a living network where families trade seeds at community gatherings, share varieties that performed particularly well that season, and preserve varieties that might otherwise disappear when an older member of the community can no longer garden. When a variety does unusually well in one family's garden, that family shares seed with several neighbors. Those neighbors grow it in their conditions. Some report back that it performed just as well. Some find it didn't suit their soil as well. Others cross it with their existing variety and produce something new. Over generations, this distributed network maintains hundreds of varieties that no commercial catalog offers. It creates redundancy. If one family loses their seed supply to a bad storage year or a crop failure, the variety still exists in 5 other seed libraries within the community. This is the part of the Amish seed system that most people can start replicating immediately, and almost nobody does. Find one other serious gardener near you. Trade seeds. Keep records of what came from where. Share what performs well. 2 people doing this doubles both seed libraries. 10 people doing this creates something genuinely irreplaceable. The bonus tip, the technique. I promised you at the start, here is the one the Amish use that sounds counterintuitive and works better than anything I've tested myself. For seeds that are difficult to germinate, parsnips, parsley, and several herb varieties that have notoriously poor germination rates when planted dry, the Amish use a cold stratification process before planting. They mix the seeds with slightly damp sand and place them in a small container in the coldest part of their root cellar, or today in a modern refrigerator, for 3 to 4 weeks before the planting date. This mimics the natural winter conditions those seeds evolved to experience before germinating in spring. The cold period breaks dormancy in ways that simply planting dry seeds in warm spring soil cannot. When those cold stratified seeds come out of the refrigerator and go into warm garden soil, germination rates jump dramatically. The Amish report going from near zero germination on difficult varieties to 70, 80, sometimes 90% germination using this method. That is the difference between giving up on a plant because it won't germinate and having it become a reliable part of your garden every year. Try it this season on any herb or root vegetable that has frustrated you with poor germination. 3 weeks in damp sand in the refrigerator. Then plant as normal. Come back to this video and drop a comment with your results. I want to build a record of people testing this because the mainstream gardening world has almost entirely forgotten this technique and the Amish kept it alive. Let me pull the whole system together before the close. The $60 billion seed industry exists because most gardeners believe they need to buy new seeds every year. The Amish proved 200 years ago that you don't. You need to save from your strongest plants, process seeds correctly so they store well, keep them in paper envelopes in cool, dry conditions, and participate in a community network that makes the whole library bigger and more resilient than any individual can maintain alone. The seeds in your garden right now are worth money. They are worth time. They are worth the attention it takes to save them properly instead of throwing them away. Start this season. Pick one crop, tomatoes, beans, peppers, squash, whatever you grow the most of, and save seeds from your strongest plant. Label the envelope. Put it somewhere cool and dry. That envelope is the beginning of a seed library that could serve your garden for the rest of your life. Which seed are you starting with? Drop it in the comments right now. I want to see what people are motivated to try first. And if this changed how you think about your garden budget and the seeds you've been throwing away, share this video. Put it in your gardening group, your homesteading community, your local seed swap network. The more people saving and trading seeds in your area, the richer everyone's garden becomes. Subscribe if you haven't already and hit the bell, because what's coming next on this channel connects the seed system, the soil system, the animal system, and the water system into something that is going to make you completely rethink how you design your property from the ground up. I'll see you in the next one.